I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first order of business this evening is the approval of our minutes from our prior meetings. First minute was July 25th. That was a regular scheduled council meeting. Is there a motion
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Our next meeting was held on August the 3rd at 6 p.m. This was an executive session meeting to interview prospective employees. Do I hear a motion to approve that?
I move we approve the executive minutes.
I hear a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then also on the 3rd, we met at 7 o'clock following the executive session to appoint our fire chief. Get the
I make a motion to accept it.
I'll second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we'll move on to our reports. Andy?
All right, under water, the plant's treated 740,260 gallons since July 25th. Our average daily usage over the last 2 weeks was 52,876 a day. Filters were backwashed on July 26th and August 2nd. Our August back T is complete, it's absent. July water report's complete, it's been submitted to IDEM. For wastewater, been performing daily checks at the lift station and the sewer plant. Our sewer plant's closed and we are not discharging. The weekly sewer samples are complete, and the treatment for the ponds has arrived, and I'll begin treating those this week. Streets, the exhaust has been replaced on the F550 and the brake lights repaired. And I want to know, with the tree trimming we're doing around town, are we, as in Jeff and I, trimming major trees?
Do they need to be done? I mean,
I just want to know. It's
Okay.
been all over
Then-
the place, so I just want to.
my personal opinion,
Okay.
do we need a motion move on that in case there's blowback?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
And then, I have signed us up with Green Tree Plastics in Evansville. We have enough caps for 4 benches at a cost of $225 each. This is for gray planks. The frames on them, they call them charcoal. It's almost black, but that's their standard frame. If we want colors, it's an additional $50. And to purchase benches outright will be $375 each. Engraving, I let them know, but they do it with a local company, but it's $65 per plank. So a 6-foot plank, you get quite a bit on it, but if we want, if people want to do that or they submit it, I will send it to them and they'll, tell us how big it'll be, what it'll be, but it's $65. Basically, if it fits on a, 6-foot line, it'll be $65 a bench to get it engraved. And we need 9 benches to replace what we have at the gazebo in the town hall. That's without doing any others.
How many benches are in the gazebo?
Well, not as many as there used to be. There were 7 at one time. There was 1 on each side. And they've slowly been vandalized to death, and I've taken them apart and put it together. There's 4 left now, 3 have been ruined and cannibalized for parts for the 4
Okay.
that are there. But
What kind of shape are they in?
they're nothing to write home about.
But some of those could be sponsored benches that are in the gazebo, right?
I don't care. I'm just telling you how many we need. That's for.
Can
you
they be
guys to
painted
decide.
like for sponsors after the fact, after we get them?
I wouldn't paint them. It kind of defeats the purpose. They're solid color,
Okay.
so you don't have to paint them.
No, but I'm saying for
They would be-
sponsors, if the sponsor wanted to take a bench and paint it in their color, I mean,
Well,
I
that's
don't
just
know.
gonna
Okay,
be,
all right,
wouldn't be a
all right.
maintenance issue. I mean, I think if you
All
wanna
right.
do that, I think engrave something now.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, that's
I got
permanent. And if you want a color, if somebody wants a color, they literally will do any color. It's just $50 more. The gray is,
So how do we find how do we find
gr-
people that wanna
I
sponsor?
don't see
things?
anything around here. The gray, I'd call it like a
Oh.
medium
Oh,
medium
yeah.
gray. It's lighter than Toby's shirt, just a little bit, but it's just
I
kind
know
of,
a couple of us decided we
A
were gonna
medium one.
sponsor one.
There you go.
but sort it out or get a list together. Like I said, I talked, she returned my call today, so I can send them the information, let them know. Cause you have to set up an appointment to do it. And of course, you're having it engraved, you gotta let them know ahead of time so they get the engraving
Just what the
done.
engraving look like, is it available to see on the website, what that engraving looks like?
I don't know, I had her number, I'll have to follow up. It's not on Green Tree.
They're on
Plastics.
downtown Tipton. They're on-
Tipton's got an
Yeah.
engraved.
Oh, do they?
They-
Yeah.
Tipton, yeah.
Okay, I'll go look.
They
I
can
mean-
do about, well, I mean, they'll do about any font you want. I mean, they've got several different fonts, but
I just can't imagine it yet. I mean,
I think those benches in the park are tipped in there.
yeah, so they don't,
It's
how,
like they have
how would they engrave, I mean,
Really
I don't
nice.
understand the engraving, but that's okay.
Weigh what,
I'm kinda dense
300
sometimes.
pounds?
They just etch it into the plastic,
I
it's
think they're
recessed
185.
lettering
Oh.
into the plastic, gets
Basically,
all,
you're giving them
there's
enough
nothing
cash
that
to
can
make
come
them
loose or
a
anything, it's part of the bench
Oh, well,
plank.
cool.
I think there's on
Yeah.
their chart. It's 185 or 195 pounds, about 200
Some
pounds
places, you know,
bench.
they put plaques on them and then people peel the plaques off the rivets or something, or kids.
The
may
legs
not
look
know whether
similar,
they're
the
permanent.
legs look similar to the
And
concrete.
it's all
one out
molded
there.
together.
There's a bench right there
Gotcha.
by the Sunday Theater. By the parking lot, you
In
can
the
check
park.
out.
Yeah.
Tipton Park full of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
park too.
Type of time. I mean, if we were, say we were before,
I don't know. I mean, I have to call them. No, because you make the appointment ahead, you have to make the appointment ahead of time. You have to tell them you're ready. I don't know if it's the VV Days select from, it's on their website. And like I said, any of them are gonna be engraved. They do that first. Then once they're back from engraving, they'll let you know. They take them over there to the engraving place, however how many planks you're having done. Get them engraved. When they come back in, they'll contact us and tell us they're back to then set up an appointment to drive down and, you know, bring all the caps. They'll have all the benches. You bring in your payment at that time. But you do have to, it says right on our website, you have to make an appointment and they'll set it up.
Okay.
So we probably need to set a deadline for people to say, if they wanna sponsor, and for them to get their
Do we wanna,
payment in.
are we trying to do this before festival? Or is that not an
would be
issue?
nice.
Okay, okay then.
I already said I'd sponsor one. And I can bring in the information tomorrow.
Our next council meeting is the 22nd of August. Would that be a reasonable deadline? 2 weeks from tonight?
I think so.
Depending on whether the company can,
Yeah, just a placeholder.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just come up here.
Yeah, I can call them the next day. I mean, I'll just have to have proof, whatever, if any of them are being engraved, what it will be, so I can send that to them. And then, we've been working at the Ball Diamond, parking lot's been stoned. I had to get one more load of stone to finish that. 4 dirt piles have been removed, and we're working on the surface restoration, which will hopefully be done tomorrow. About halfway through now. They didn't put in here, the gates are ordered, they're in production. They're gonna let me know, but they said it possibly depending on the load they have now, it could be up to 6 weeks. So, but I called them after the last meeting, so, you know, we're 2 weeks into that. And then I'm working with the electrical contractor out there for the power for the scoreboards. They were wanting to plow all that in, and I got a quote to bore it, which is actually gonna be cheaper. Plowing it was over 1,000 feet of wire, we can get it done in 580 boring it, and you know, they had to go up 4 wire sizes because of the distance, which we can drop that down and just do 2, so it's gonna be cheaper. There's a builder in Indianapolis that's paying the bill for all this. So we gonna call back from Daystar to find out when they can do it. construction of the house on Railroad is underway. We're in the process of retiring utilities. Gas company still has to come out. We're in the sewer. Getting the survey through with Steve Hartley again as soon as everything is disconnected down there. He said he's hoping to do it in a day. If not, a day and a half.
Yay.
Concrete. So that's, I had to go in there to get the tire meter out. It's pretty horrendous. You can like see daylight through the roof now, and it is bad. And some kids actually broke in.
Oh,
Yeah, so I got that re-secured where I know they're not gonna get in now. On that north door. They kicked it in, but we screwed the boards across it. It really wasn't the 2x4s, it was only 2x2, but it's secure now. Then under building, I had one inspection, and then I talked with them today about the collapsed building at 515 South Central. And they assured me that they're gonna get something done this time around. It's my second call to them. And I'm supposed to call them back in 2 weeks, but they are working on it, so.
Andy, have you heard anything? Is that only a one-off thing, or it's not serviced
Yeah,
yet?
it works.
Is it serviced now?
Yeah, they had to fix that. They had to fix the thing at the county, which they did here a couple weeks ago. I saw them out there with the crane doing it, and, yeah, it was off, it went off on Friday.
Yeah, I didn't hear the reason why I asked, I didn't.
It's normal operation again. That's all I have unless you have any questions.
Thank you, Andy. Code enforcement, where he's absent this evening, I don't know if you.
He's on duty.
Okay. You ready to report?
He's done some, notice those properties, they're set to expire tomorrow, so we'll be adding a couple more houses to the list.
Okay, Robin, do you have anything to report tonight? Okay, then we'll move on to old business. We have an update on our USDA grant.
Am I updating?
You're updating.
Well, the town, well, it's a good thing the Nelsons are here because they've been very instrumental in helping the town get it. It was the grant that, remember when Brenda came up and we had it up, we got 58,500. The town has to match the 5,000. The match is bigger than that, but Brenda said that they would make up the difference on their end. So now we have put out a request for proposals for improvements to the park area to try to work on, and correct me, I mean, because when Brenda speaks, I walk away thinking, what did we just talk about? So if I'm missing something, please.
She
Please
ricochets.
feel free to correct me. We're gonna work on outside improvements as quickly as we can after festival. And then work on more indoor improvements when the weather turns, and depending on how much money we have too. Also, what was I gonna say? Oh, Brenda has gone ahead and put out the request for proposals for us, but the council will get to look at all of that before any decision is made. I mean, it's council decision what's gonna happen. It's our grant and it's our park, so. You wanna fill in?
You did great.
If you have any questions, ask me, Steve. Did I miss anything? Great.
All right, our next order of old business is the Atlanta Volunteer Fire Department Chief appointment. We have Jerry Liston here with us tonight, and we're very happy to say that Jerry has agreed to be the chief for our Atlanta Volunteer Fire Department. So, moving forward, we're going to rely on Jerry to try to get this thing off the ground and hopefully operational. In talking with Jerry, I know I think he's set a realistic goal, and that's the first of the year. And that may sound like a ways off, but that's, there's a lot to be done. And So for those of you that don't know Jerry, welcome. Thanks, Jerry. We look forward to working with you.
He's an old cowboy.
Yeah,
He's an old cowboy.
I started with this department back in '76, so, well, I just aged myself, didn't I?
How long, Jerry, how long was your dad chief? Would-
My dad was chief, well, he was chief twice. I think maybe a total of 10 to 11 years, I think, total.
Yeah.
So,
What a legacy.
I know he was chief when he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So, matter of fact, it was 29 years today.
Today.
Yeah, 8 of 88. So, I have,
Yeah, you
I have a little report here.
Coincidence,
Yes,
appointing his
I
son to
made
the fire
copies.
chief position on the day he
There's 6
passed.
of them there.
What's that?
Appointing his son to the position of fire chief on the day he passed.
Kind of tell you what I've done in the
He
last
was
5
a fire
days.
chief at the time he passed, too.
Aw.
That's something.
Wow.
Well, tonight, well, since Thursday night, I've tried to get a hold of Todd. Finally, tonight, I actually spoke with his wife, Kelly. He was at work, and sounds like he works a couple of days on, and then he's off a couple of days, goes back and whatever. And his job is, according to Kelly, will be shut down. They're thinking maybe in November. So, and he has some options. But every time he goes, wherever they say, that there is no openings for his, I think he's an electrician or whatever, so. I asked Kelly tonight if she knew where the applications were, and she could not tell me, so I asked for her to have Todd call me. So as soon as I get my hands on those applications, we'll start going through those. And I have done an inventory of the gear. I did that on Saturday. There is 6 sets of Globe Ultra Gold turnout gear that I think was there for the territory. 4 of those sets have been assigned or are assigned. And there's also 4 sets of expired Janesville gear that are from like the 2004, 2003 to 2004. We have 11 black helmets. We have 1 red helmet. We have 2 white helmets, and 6 of those black helmets have Jackson shields on them, so we'll have to replace those too. There's 12 sets of fire boots. It's a mix of leather and rubber, and then different sizes. And 3 of those sets have been of boots have been assigned already. I've got different assorted sizes of fire gloves. In fact, I have 7 sets. That's all down there. Nomex hoods. Right now I have 7. And again, just assorted mix. I was looking for department patches from the old days. I haven't found any yet. I would hope that there would be some still left somewhere. And I'm not finding any hardware, which is like badges or anything like that. So again, I'd like to think that maybe there's some of those somewhere. I did find an inventory list for the station and the apparatus and equipment.
You should get a copy of our capital asset sheet from Robin.
I have that also, yes.
Okay.
And I have started going through that list. That's going to take a while. I think it's like six or 7 sheets. I've started already with creating some new station forms. I've done a new desk sheet, a new fuel sheet, a new maintenance record sheet for the apparatus and the station, and I've done some miscellaneous forms also. Social media, I've kind of put my 23-year-old daughter in charge of that, since that seems that's all she knows how to do is use her thumbs. But in order for me to do that, create a Facebook page for the department, I need an email address.
Do you, want, because I need to call Endeavor. I think we can get, because you're gonna need Wi-Fi over there. I think we can get free Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I think we have one more town email address, which would be like firechief@iendeavor.com.
Okay.
Do you want an iEndeavor
Yes.
one? Okay.
Yes, that would work.
Okay.
told me she couldn't do that until she had the email
Okay.
address. And I think that'll be a good tool for recruiting and also for public relations in the town, using that Facebook page. I'm kind of an old fart, I guess I would say. I don't use it that often or that much, but I need to learn how to use it, especially with the younger generation. I'm gonna skip the apparatus maintenance, and I'll come back to that. Number 7, the New Earth Festival. I just got, well, on Sunday I spoke with Assistant Chief Steve Smith down in Cicero, and they agreed to do the coverage again for the festival. I followed that up with an email to Chief Overholzer, and I just got confirmation back this afternoon that yes, that Cicero will do that. So we'll need to, I guess, put together the MOU again that you did last year, and we'll get that to them. Seems like every time I make a phone call, there's a couple more phone calls that kind of comes with that. And I've spoken with Ryan Horrine on the event action plan for the festival, and so we'll be sitting down here in about a week or so and trying to finalize that. We're gonna need some manpower, and I'll just go out and I'll ask the neighboring departments, if they'll help us again like we've done in the past. Seems like we always get a good turnout. And then we'll have to look at the radios and see if they've had the latest updates or programming. And we need to do that before the festival. So probably sitting down with Ryan, we'll find out more about that, because he's one last night told me that what radios were down here in the station. So he's aware of that. And then through the State Fire Marshal's office, I need to send in and update my contact information with that office. And then I need to communicate with Angie Biggs at the state and have her send us the spreadsheet that she'll need for us to enter our runs into ImageTrend, which is the state reporting system. There's really no hurry on that until we get members, because I have to put every member on that spreadsheet and send it to them. So now let's go back to number 6. I communicated today with David Cook. David is a career firefighter down at IFD, and on the side he does apparatus maintenance. And I think I mentioned that the last time we met. And I asked him if he would be willing to come up and go through the engine to make sure that there's nothing wrong before we start training on it and operating it. And I asked him, if it involved a contract, and he said no. And I think he used to do the maintenance before they went to the territory. He said no contract. He says when you get tired of me, you just tell me and I go away. But it's $75 an hour and $50 a mile, or 50 cents a mile from Advance. Knowing David, and he's done the maintenance at Cicero for 15 years. He'll do a thorough PM check on the engine. He'll check the fluids, the filters, the tires, the pump, the valve. It may cost a little bit more up front because it's been sitting there a while, and we may need to change filters and whatever. But he is willing to do that if the council so wants him to come and do that.
Now, is that an annual inspection?
Yes. Yeah, or whenever we need him. So, and I think he comes to Cicero once a year. So, he said the biggest thing that'll hurt that engine is sitting. He said, if it's running every day, keeping everything lubricated, it's actually better. But when it sits there, it's really, really hard on it.
After it's PM'd, who will be qualified to do that every day?
Well, we can do weekly checks on it, making sure. But if we find a problem, we'll probably need to bring him back.
No, I'm saying to keep it exercised.
Oh.
So you said
by operating it, it'll.
But somebody will be doing that every day after he. Okay.
We'll have to probably do it weekly.
Okay.
So.
All right.
And then I guess I'll ask if you guys have any questions.
Do we have a fund for fire at all? Do we?
Yeah, trying to figure out how much we set aside.
Jerry, what exactly
I
is
don't see
changing
it on
over
mine.
here?
It's just a branded gear.
That's not part of the turnout protection.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
so when you say
There's all
they're expired,
kinds.
does that mean you can't
It's
use
not on your
those?
phone
Well,
cards, and that's what you bring.
It's not on ours.
If you put somebody in that gear
We haven't spent it.
and they get hurt, and OSHA comes in and inspects that gear, finds out it's expired, town's gonna pay a hefty fine.
So is that something that can be repaired, or just throw it out and buy a new one?
We'll probably have to throw it out or use it as backup gear if we have to, but you're taking a chance.
Yeah,
The,
what-
the globe gear, I think it was around 2014, I believe, which that's probably about the time the territory was established. And like I say, there's six, and that gear is in great shape. It hasn't been used a whole lot. So, so again, thanks for letting me do this. Appreciate it. And
Jerry,
we'll,
thank you.
We'll continue to plug along, and then we'll make it happen. Like I said, like I told you, you know, this one person can't do this. It's going to take us all working as a team to make this happen. So,
Turnout gear, Jerry, I may have asked you this, but I'm gonna ask it again just for all that's present. We currently have 6, correct, that we can use.
yes.
What is an estimated cost on?
I've communicated with Hoosier Fire, who had provided the gear down here. We're talking about $1,845 for a set, and that's helmet, coat, bunker, boots, Nomex hood, gloves. About eight, and that's entry level.
Yeah.
I mean, it can get more. I mean, if you go custom, it can go as much as $2,000, $2,500. So,
Just curious.
How hard is it to get the gear grants? Because I know we got one once before.
we're gonna have to get up and be running as a station, as a department before we can apply. And there's different, you know, you got firehouse subs in Noblesville, they have a foundation.
No,
If you live within so many miles, I know they gave White River Township $17,000 to buy a camera, yes. So you have to meet the
criteria.
criteria for it, and you live within so many miles,
Right.
and then you have to do an application process or whatever.
Yay, there's money out there though.
Yeah, there is
Just
money.
finding
To
it.
the state fire marshal's office, I think it's called the Cardinal Grant, there's like a $4,000 grant there, but again, you have to be up and running.
Yeah.
Is there a set number of firefighters that have to be
On board.
on call or on board before you're considered?
You know, there's other departments in the area, like, use Duck Creek as an example. Duck Creek has 4 members. Just north of
4 or
Elton.
40, it depends
Yeah.
on what,
Depends on how many, and again, it's probably gonna be you guys telling me how many what's the limit gonna be?
yeah, I understand.
I know in the old days it was 20.
For now, 6.
Yeah.
For now, 6. That's how we could outfit them.
And it's my understanding there's about 10 or 11 applications that we can start working on. Once we get my hands on them, we can start going through those.
So back to festival.
Sure.
Jennifer has a question for you. Firehouse.
I know you have a lot on your plate, Jerry.
Are you gonna feed us?
It's a trade-off.
Okay.
We've actually got the firehouse scheduled for this year, but there's nobody to man it. I didn't know if you could possibly get somebody to do that or not.
We will try. We will try. When you say the firehouse, the smokehouse?
Yes, the smokehouse.
Okay. They're the one out of Noblesville?
Yes.
Okay,
And
okay.
when we had it the last time, it sat up on Main Street because we have the public health and safety area there.
Okay.
And that was when there were firefighters that could man it, but, last year we had to let it go, didn't we?
Yeah, we had to let
Because
it
there
go.
was no one to man it, so
Okay.
it's not
What,
a
a
priority, but.
minimum of 2 to operate it? Andy, what are you doing?
Everything else?
I mean, seriously, we don't wanna stress you out over
No.
it.
No, it's annual. We'll find some, we need to find somebody. Maybe we can, My 23-year-old daughter could do that.
She can get on our Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good to. Write that down. Maybe we'll just reach out to some of the neighboring departments and see if they can help us.
Exciting.
All right, any other questions from the council? Well, we look forward to it, Jerry. Hopefully this will be a positive thing for us. Sure it will. All right, move on to, we're on old business. Is there any other old business tonight? Jenny?
Yeah, I've got a question to ask you, I guess, personally, on the council. What is the ordinance and how does it read about weeds in the community? You know, you've been down to my house, Johnny has, so is Andy, about the neighbors, the way they take care of their property. And my understanding that it's gotta have at least a fourth of their yard that's gotta be in weeds before you guys can do anything about that, is that correct?
20%.
20%?
It's supposed to be removed, but it's still there, it's 20% is what it says.
How about, wasn't that Aaron Culp's job to remove that, or one of them? And-
Aaron was the one that redid the ordinance.
Okay, is there any way that we can get that removed? Because I'll tell you, my neighbors is creating problems. Their weeds is coming over in my yard. I spend a lot of money in a year's time on taking care of my yard, and their weeds is coming over. I had the guy come today and he sprayed again, and he told me, he said, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm tired of putting that kind of money in it.
Well, if that was supposed to be in, that 20% was supposed to be removed, then that was voted on, I would assume, and it just never got addressed. So is, anybody know about when it was done, or we could go back in the previous minutes and see and just have that added or changed to whatever was voted on at that meeting, because it should be effective, short of us having it printed.
Probably be easier just to vote right now to remove it than to try to.
Find it again.
Okay, I make a motion that we remove the 20% on the weed.
What will it mean?
First.
What will it mean if we remove the 20%
Let
that,
me give you an idea.
Anything over
Like
6
my
inches
yard,
tall in the
I
yard.
could let my yard grow, my whole front yard, which isn't even 20% of my yard,
right?
I could let be 8-foot tall
But,
weeds.
but if we take that out, what did that means that we can address any weeds, not,
Yeah.
okay,
So
all
like
right.
if you have one weed, oh good lord, I'm gonna get a ticket. If you have one weed that's over 6 inches tall, then
Yeah, you look at the perfect example is next door to him, or there's even other houses that,
Okay, I just want to make sure I
Yeah, they never-
understood what we were,
that never weed eat, and
okay,
yet it's not 20% of the yard, but they
I
got
gotcha.
weeds 4 feet tall
I
hanging
gotcha.
off the side of their fence. I
okay,
just did some mowing in the alleys, you know,
mm-hmm,
of people that, for whatever reason, aren't mowing, and I mowed down weeds that were almost as tall as me
okay.
Monday.
That's fine, I just want to make sure I was clear on,
And here's
what that
something
meant.
else too, they trimmed that bush that was out in front of on their property. And instead of hauling it away, he just stuck it in a big pile in the backyard, and it's been there for 3 weeks. And he mows like every 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks.
Well, I second John's motion. I think we should do away with 20%.
All in favor?
aye.
But Danny, like I shared with you the other night, you've got the nicest yard in town, undoubtedly. Probably the nicest yard in 3 towns.
Appreciate that.
You do.
But my wife does all the work I do.
And
I'm glad to hear you admit that finally. I'm glad to hear you finally admit that.
Not everyone's gonna have the same standards as you.
That's true, but you know,
They're just not, because,
I don't care.
You know, most
I look
people-
at it this way. It don't take that much initiative to take care of your yard.
you know, it doesn't, but some folks, that's not important. And I know it's frustrating for you.
It's very
living-
important.
I know it is, and that's obvious when you drive by.
I'm seriously curious though, how is that gonna be, how is that gonna be
Enforced.
policed? Because I seriously have some weeds, I'm sure, that are gonna get me a ticket. I mean, I try to get out there, but they get away from you. Unless you're out there every day.
You can see, like, one I'm getting ready to hook up tomorrow. is
So it's
the
just
house-
discretionary.
The house next to mine, that they aren't weed eating it, well, they're not mowing it now either. But when they just mow the yard, and then there's grass and weeds that are this tall, you can drive around town and see them, there's another house just like it. I mean, that's what you're talking about, I mean,
How do we communicate this to the town, though, that, okay, we've passed an ordinance, and this is what
The
you're
ordinance-
responsible for? How-
Murray will go tell them, hey, you need
Yeah,
to
it's
cut this
Murray's
stuff
job.
down, it's
But-
Murray's job.
Only after the fact. I mean, how do, is there a
He's
way?
not gonna go hand him a ticket, he's gonna say, I need you to cut these down because it's town ordinance.
You know, the thing
But
of it
new
is,
town
it's,
ordinances, and how are they communicated to the public in general? Or is it just, we pass an ordinance up here rather in a vacuum, you know, because there aren't many people, so, and nobody knows that they're doing something wrong until they get a warning?
How do you
Same
even,
way the
how do
state
you,
does.
how do you even like announce something like that on social media though, because that's gonna be a.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, how do we inform the people that we govern, I mean, you know, that have elected
that's why we're
us?
supposed to come to
Wha-
town meetings.
Oh,
You know, police.
There's a whole book full of
Yeah,
ordinances that people don't know about, and when there's an
That's
issue, you
true.
say,
that's
hey,
true,
you know, we have this issue, ordinance XYZ says
that's
this.
true.
One thing they should do is inform the sheriff's department, because when I got
Like-
the sheriff called on me the other day, there was 3 of them that arrived at my house because I had a little words with my next door neighbor about his weeds. They told me, they said, there's nothing we can do about this. I said,
There's nothing they can do about our
They
ordinance.
can't enforce town ordinance,
They won't
state
enforce
law.
So I said, that's fine, no problem.
You know, most of the people in town have a lot of grass. I mean, I understand the weather, and your yard can kind of get away from you if you don't stay on top of it. But the people you're addressing here tonight are people who's got grass 2 feet tall, and they're habitual about it, you know, they don't ever keep it trimmed. And, I think those are the kind of people that Murray just needs to go out and approach and tell them.
Murray has done a good job. I mean, we had the guy clean up the fence that they broke, that they stole from me or tore down. But, you know, I mow every other day. That's what we've been mowing this year.
Well, I think that's a little bit, as far as I'm concerned, that's a little bit too much. But I mean, I understand what you're saying, but keep your yard within reason, you know. And then if you get grass this high or higher and you cut it, you gotta bale it. You know what I mean? It's just grass clippings everywhere. So, you know,
I gotta say something, I let my milkweeds grow
Oh, yeah.
because that's helping the monarch butterflies.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that they can put their little baby
Chrysalis.
stems on.
And it's also a natural, Indiana plant too.
It's a plant, all right, isn't it? Because they're not growing out eventually.
And your sweet
I
Annie.
let my sweet
Your
Annie
sweet
grow.
Annie.
My sweet Annie grows.
Mine too, I
Wherever it
mean-
wants to.
And it goes everywhere.
Yes, but it smells
well, I
good.
can let my clover grow and then say, well, the
And you're helping
honeybees
the
need it.
bumblebees,
But
yeah.
you know how ugly clover gets, and you know, it gets really, can really get big.
It gets purple heads sometimes.
It's not a very good yard.
It's a Indiana.
In your
yeah,
opinion.
That's why
Indiana
farmers bail
ground cover.
clover.
In your opinion.
Depends on who they're feeding.
So who's gonna get a hold of Manny, Murray or me?
Can you, please? Yeah, copy that. I don't know what his schedule is. I know you seem to get the brunt of all of
Does, talking about Manning, orange contract.
That was tabled until the
22nd, that's right,
because
that's
we
right,
weren't sure
that's
if
right.
Sophie was gonna be here.
I have that written down right here, 8/22. Duh.
And
that. We'll want to be sure that he attends that 22nd meeting.
yeah, I sent him another email to make sure he was
Any other old business tonight?
Want an update on the railroad? That fall under old business?
Yes, it
Yes,
was.
it
All right. Let's see, we met with the Hoosier Heritage Port Authority today. Had the first round of contract discussions. There weren't any issues. They're going to draft the contract that would come back to Hamilton County Tourism, and they would basically sign on behalf of the Nickel Plate Heritage Railroad. And Tom Hoback, the chairman of the Indiana Railroad, and a couple other railroad people were there today to answer all the questions that HHPA had. It was a very good meeting. They're going to draft the contract to send back to us. Hoback and company are already out working on railroad equipment. They've started to identify some really beautiful pieces of equipment that we would bring here. And we haven't bought anything yet. Next step is to get our loan approved with USDA, same people that gave us that grant. I think we've got a bank lined up, and we have guarantees lined up for the loan, so it's not a done deal, but we probably have to get the loan first, and then we'll sign the contract with the HHPA. And we would start doing construction on the track. Most likely in October, we'd start replacing ties, fixing railroad crossings, get ready to go. We pushed back the starting of running for the public till June 1st of next year. So I think we'll be running in second quarter. We'll be testing and getting some experience with everything. So we're excited about it. We are running. There's been some confusion. Our original proposal was we're running from here to Cicero, then Tipton and back. And Noblesville requested us to run to Noblesville. So we've changed our plan. At this point, we're going to run Atlanta, Arcadia, Cicero, Noblesville, and back. And then we'll deal with the track north of here later, is our plan. So, and of course, as we've talked before, it'll be headquartered here. We'll start here, run down there, and run back. 91 days a year is the schedule. And so really exciting about it. I mean, you know, this, I think is going to happen, right? So anyway, pretty good.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Yes, I know you guys put a lot of hours in.
Oh, thank you
With
guys
this.
for your support. It's been amazing.
I think it's a good thing for Atlanta.
It will be a
It
good
will
day.
be.
It really will be.
Definitely.
Any other old business? Well, we'll move on to new business. We have one adjustment. No?
We approve of Wendy and Andy's verification.
Outside spigot. That's- I hear a motion that we approve this adjustment.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any other new business?
I don't know if it's new business, old business, what you wanna call it, with the emails that we received about the speeders and that thing that was shared.
Yes.
I would just like to comment on how the county police department has come up and handled the situation and the complaints. And as I don't know if y'all had seen the response I put on there, but I had gotten some complaints from some people that think that we do not have a police department and that they were told it doesn't do no good to come up here and they don't know who to call and what numbers to call. And I'd just like to put on record that, you know, nothing has changed on calling for the police. You still call 911 for emergency, same situation. County dispatch does have non-emergency phone numbers that you can call if you just need to talk to an officer and you don't want to go through 911.
2355.
It is 29, yes, the 2355 is 292, and that'll get you through to a dispatcher without, you know, going through emergency contact. And I had a lady that didn't want to, you know, her name mentioned, and I won't mention her name, but she gave me some descriptions of some vehicles. And I put them on there on the email, and the very next day they had the one car that was in question. They had stopped the car, the guy was on suspended license, and they ended up impounding his car and getting him a ticket. So they do respond to complaints, but they can't do their job if they're unaware of the situation going on. And I know we had some people complaining about Central and different Indiana and Walnut Street and different things at the last board meetings. And they're well aware of that, and they've been up here patrolling, and they will get it taken care of. So I just want everybody in this town.
They have issued tickets too.
Yeah, and I do want the people of this community to know we do have a police department. It's the county, it's no one local. It's not a local police department or whatever, but they will, they serve this town as a local department. You got a complaint or a problem, they will respond. And I just wish that people would understand that. And we've got the lady that spoke to me and was telling me about this was told that by another resident of the community didn't care much for the town, was telling them they wouldn't do a bit of good to come up here and tell us, and told her they didn't know what to do. We didn't have a police department, and that's absolutely not true. And I think the county police department has been doing a very good job for us. When we had our own police department here, we had all them break-ins and all that stuff, and people, there was like 20 or 30 garages and houses and things that were broken into, and nothing. We had a department. So we haven't had any of that kind of crime or anything. We have some kids vandalizing and some speeding, but other than that, there's nothing serious going on with the county up here taking control of things. So I'd just like to put it on record that I think the county's doing a good job, and that we do have a department. So anybody that needs them to call the same numbers they always have, they will get an officer.
I'd like to also share, Monday morning, it was 1:26. I looked at my watch. I was at my kitchen sink getting a drink of water. 1:30 Monday morning. I don't know if any of you had your windows open Sunday night, but it sounded like a racetrack in this town on Sunday night late.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, but anyway, I looked over across to the park, as I do a lot of times, just looking out. There was 3 vehicles parked right under the swing sets.
Oh, no, well, they're doing donuts on the basketball court too.
So I called the 2355, dispatch answered the phone, I had to give them my name, told them the situation, and they said, we'll dispatch an officer. I looked at my watch, like I said, it was 1:26, and at 1:36, 2 county sheriff deputies pulled up at the park and took care of the problem. So if you call,
They'll be here.
Come running.
they will come.
There was a situation last night over on Broadway, South Broadway Street, and there was officers over there. From my understanding, Ryan was one of the officers that actually responded to it. So, they're taking care of the situations and problems within the town. After the last board meeting, there was complaints about the golf carts being driven by underage kids and whatnot. I didn't see it, but my granddaughter was telling me the very next day, there was a county officer that had one of them pulled over right in front of my house, a bunch of kids on it. So, with requesting Ryan to, get the word out there, he's doing his job, and apparently so, because these other officers are taking care of the problems that has been brought to their attention. So, like I said, they can't do their job if they're unaware of it. So, if you got a complaint or problem, you don't want to call the county, call up here and let us know, and we'll relay it to the county or wherever, just whatever it takes to get problems resolved. So.
Any other new business tonight?
Call Robin.
That's what we tell them not to do. We say, don't wait until the next day and call the town hall.
Not the next day. If it's going on during the day and you're open, and they don't call up here, but,
That's fine.
but, no, I didn't say wait till the next day.
Okay. Clarify that.
It'd be nice to her.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we sign the claims and adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion, we sign the claims, adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you for coming.